Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Bernie here. I was hoping to make a cooler transition there as we kind of talk about NBA free agency. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here, man. Like we have, I would say like this would be to me, probably the biggest. I would say. What is up, guys? It is your boy Bernie here. I was hoping. Oop. Okay. Just want to make sure that we're chilling there. I think the biggest thing to me before we talk about free agency is just kind of like everything that's been going on so far. You know, we have a lot of things to talk about. But before we do that, guys, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on the charge. Give me the latest NBA news and rumors and basketball opinions. I'm just going to go straight to the live scene just because, you know, we don't have that much time to dilly-dally. But if you guys are interested in watching the channel, we have, of course, 762 subscribers. I'll have to update this goal. And we're on our way closely to get into that magic 1,000 number. So if you guys are messing with the channel, if you guys do mess with what we do here on the charge, put it in the comment section down below, and also let me know what is your guys' favorite moment so far of the draft. And also, if your teams are participating in free agency, let me know what is your favorite move so far. We have so many things to talk about. What's up, Sean? What's up, Justin? There's a lot of things to talk about. Like I said, before we do, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe. And also, guys, remember, we have some merch as well. We have mugs, we have t-shirts, we have sweatshirts, whatever you want. And there's also a donation link if you guys are interested in donating to the link. Or donating to the... there's a link to the donation site if you guys are interested. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Shout out to my intern, Sean, and also shout out to Justin as well. Hope you guys are doing great on the Sunday afternoon as we kind of get into the, I would say, free agency eve before I feel like this week is going to start to heat up. So let's get right into it. First things first, we're going to talk about probably the biggest player or two of the biggest players. Kawhi Leonard has declined his player option with the Clippers. I think that this was going to be obvious to a lot of people. You know, with the way that things are working right now, you know that these teams, especially Kawhi Leonard, can demand a lot of money elsewhere. Doesn't matter if it's Clippers, doesn't matter if it's you know, Miami, if it's the Dallas Mavericks. I know they're interested in Kawhi Leonard. But Wojnarowski kind of said it best. I feel like he's just going to re-sign with the Clippers again for a bigger contract due to the fact that he did get injured once again. I think he's going to look for security over chasing titles at this point. I'm not saying that he won't be in the title chasing contending spot, but I do think you're going to get Kawhi Leonard kind of look more and be a little bit more cautious and not really try and go out and try and get I would say, you know, trying to go for the championship. We'll see what happens with the Clippers. They got a lot of stuff to talk about. And of course, Justin and Sean are talking about in the live chat right now. If you guys are interested, go and join them and talk to them. They are interested in the Lonzo Ball rumors. You know, they've been heating up a little bit more for the Chicago Bulls to be getting Lonzo Ball. And I know that we're talking about Kawhi Leonard at this point, but I just want to let you know that these guys are talking some Lonzo to Chicago rumors that we will be talking about shortly after I get done talking about our two players that we are going to talk about at the beginning. Yeah, and the reason why I'm going to talk about these two, that being Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard first, is because I feel like those two guys are going to stay right where they're at. I don't feel like there's going to be any sudden movements. I mean, the only one I could maybe see is if you get CP3 to go to the Lakers, but I think even then it's going to be impossible with the way that their salary cap and infrastructure works. They're going to have to accept a lot of veteran minimums that we're seeing kind of rumored out with like DeRozan and all these other guys that are kind of out there that might be signing the vet min. Goran Dragic actually one of them as well. So we'll see if that actually ends up being something or if it's just kind of the hoopla and we're just going to get, you know, a different type of team here. But without further ado, like I said, I think Kawhi Leonard is going to stay there. I don't think he's going to move anywhere. I think he's going to particularly just stay right where he's at. Hopefully you guys can't hear. I think someone's doing some construction outside. So I do apologize for that noise. Yeah, I don't think that anything going to happen with those two guys, that being Kawhi Leonard and, of course, Chris Paul. But I think the other person that we can talk about, of course, is the Lonzo Ball rumors. And let me just pull those up really quick. So Lonzo Ball rumors are heating up, as you guys can tell in the comment section or in the live chat. You know, Lonzo Ball preferably is looking like the Bulls are going to offer a potential $80 million contract to him. It looks like the Pelicans can still match and offer a lot more. Like we talked about, one of the most intriguing storylines, just because to me, the reason why it's so intriguing is because of the amount of guards that the Pelicans seem to get each and every year. Whether it is Eric Bledsoe that happened last year, whether it was the kid from Alabama this year, last year. I can't remember who else they have on that team. But it always seemed like Lonzo Ball was the odd man out in that whole group when they traded away all those pieces to get Anthony Davis. I always felt like he was going to be kind of in that situation. So it is kind of frustrating to me when I kind of see that. Perfect timing for a stream Sunday night, cleaning and laundry, dad duties. Hey man, I'm just here to make sure your dad duties go right. Whatever it is, whether it's changing the diapers or whatever it is. But we ought to talk about this Lonzo Ball stuff. Because like you said, the Bulls are interested. I also think the Celtics can make a push for him. The question is going to be how much are they willing to offer and what can we really do? I think the Bulls have the best bet because of the salary cap implications that they're in right now. They don't have to. They can offer as much as they want, where I feel like the Celtics can offer as much. And we all know that the Celtics, they're kind of in desperate need. We also got to talk about the Josh Richardson stuff. I made a YouTube short yesterday, going to go live streaming it, but I decided against it and tried to a little bit more take a step back and see kind of from my perspective and also kind of from the Celtics perspective as to why I think this was a good and a bad trade. Don't get me wrong. I think it was a really bad trade at the end, but I'll make some cases as to why it was a good trade, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. I think Brown would have been the better player to get and kind of develop and see what he becomes. I know that we're kind of center struck right now with how many we've got. But with that being the case, like I said, you got Lonzo Ball rumors kind of heating up. We know that the Bulls are looking roughly at 11 million cap space, but they have a lot of these other guys that they can kind of get rid of their contracts and kind of say, like, you know what, we're not really interested in getting those guys. But I will say, Justin, I do think that Lonzo Ball would be a great fit on your team. If we think about just kind of the way that your team is constructed, I feel like the Chicago Bulls have been missing that point guard for a couple years now. I know that there's a lot of people that are Kobe White supporters, and people really enjoy his, I would say, game. They like the way that he does. I think the Bulls have about 23 or 24 cap space this offseason. I think 4 years, 75 or 80 is fair for Lonzo. Yeah, I think it is fair too. I think the Pelicans could offer a little bit more, but I do agree with you that 80 million is probably about the right amount. I know a lot of people are going to say, like, Lonzo, like, everything about him just doesn't fit. But I really think that I think the Chicago Bulls are going to get a great point guard out of him. Like I said, Kobe White really hasn't been the guy that I think you guys were looking for. Every time, I kind of look to see Chicago Bulls games on NBA League Pass, I'm just not impressed with the way that he plays. I feel like he's too much more like, in terms of like a scoring guard, not really a true point guard, can get guys the ball, get them in situations where I feel like Lonzo could do that for Larry Markkinen. He could do that for Zach LaVine. Which is why I think, as much as I would love, Chicago to get back to the way it was, I really think that he would be a much better fit on the Celtics. Is Tyrese hopping on? I invited him, or I sent him kind of a confirmation. I'm going to find out in a little bit later to see if he is going to join us or not. Sorry for this REI commercial. We don't support that unless they are paying me. That is the deal here on the charge. Unless it's water. We always sponsor water. But that being the case, that's kind of my situation that I am, I would say, curious about with Lonzo, is that I do think that he's a much better fit on some other teams. I'm not saying that the Bulls are bad, but I think with the way that the Bulls are at right now, we're seeing Lowry Markkinen may not re-sign with them. I believe he's a restricted free agent, if I'm correct, right, Justin? Let me see here. I'm just gonna see if he's ready to join or not. If he's not, then we're just gonna kind of have to live stream without him. I'll just invite him to the call, see if he's interested in joining. But never the case, I do think that he's a much better fit on the Celtics than I feel like he would be on the Bulls. I feel like the Celtics have a lot more options of scoring for him, which means that he doesn't have to do as much as the bulk of the offense, where I feel like if you do have Lonzo in that predicament, I feel like he has to be the scoring option for you guys, or at least like help you out in that sense. So that's kind of where I'm at with Lonzo. Tyrese, you there?
Give me like 20 minutes. I just got into my hotel. So let me just set this Wi-Fi up and everything. Then I'll join like in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll still be in this. I'll just be in this call. You let me know when you're ready.
Okay, awesome.
I'll mute myself there. And yeah, that's kind of the case. Bulls should trade for Buddy and sign Lonzo. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they would get for Buddy. I mean, like, I'm not sure what the Bulls have that the Kings will want, unless you're going to decide to trade away, you do a Lowry marketing trade for Buddy Hield or anything like that. Because I mean, if we look at the Bulls roster, I mean, let's look at the Chicago Bulls. It's not a very great roster at this point. You got a couple guys that you like. They did get Patrick Williams. Kind of was a little bit up and down. You got Garrett Temple, Larry Marketing. You got Vucevic now. You got Daniel Theis. Troy Brown Jr., who I like. And really, that's it. The Zach LaVine. I mean, it's not really a roster or a team that I would consider to be like even playoff contending worthy at this point. I think even with the addition of Lonzo, I just don't think he carries them over the top. It doesn't get them. And even with Buddy Hield, I just feel like there's a lot more things you have to add. Because I mean, as much as I love Zach LaVine, I think that he's a great player. I still think that he can at some times, just kind of succumb to the good player on a bad team, which requires a lot of stats. And to me, it's like I'm not really convinced with the way that the Bulls are constructed at this point that they would even be ready for a playoff contending spot. Like I just don't see it at this point. And Sean and Justin, you may tell me I'm wrong, but that's kind of how I'm feeling at this point. So let me know, like in the live chat in the comments. Yeah, we don't have the assets. I like our roster though. I see Zach taking another step this year. I just feel like we always talk about Zach taking the next step. Zach LaVine at this point is, he's getting older. He's 26, almost going to be 27 years old. At what point does he run out of steps to take? I think by the time you're 26, 27, mostly I think at 26, I think that's when we really know like who you are as a player. And don't get me wrong, I've been proven wrong before in that. LeBron James has done it before with his jump shot. You've had Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. You've seen a lot of those guys take the next step in their 30s. But the problem is, what is the next step for Zach LaVine? I mean, let's look at his stats really quick. For a guy, I think he had a career year this year in assists, having almost 5 a game, having 5 total rebounds, and averaging 27 points per game. To me, I don't know where at this point, I think his 2-point field goal percentage is something that he definitely needs to work on. I think that's kind of his biggest weakness at this point. Last year shooting 44%, 45 is just not going to cut it, especially in a league where it's really 3-and-D. They wouldn't be contenders with Lonzo, but I think we'd be a legit playoff team with the first rung on the ladder. I've watched Zach last 3 years, and he's definitely gotten better each year. I don't know, man. Everything about LaVine's game has gotten better this year. But do you think that's due to the fact that he's on like when you look at LaVine, like do you think it's because he's on a bad team putting up the good stats? So like I mean that's the thing. Like to me, it's going to be about LaVine's defense. I know you don't expect defense from every player, but his defense has to come up a little bit. It has to be a little bit better. I was looking at his 2-point percentage from his rookie year. I don't know why they keep doing this. Hang on one second. I want to do it this. Let me do it this way. So that way we can see the top season first. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I mean, like that's my thing though. I just feel like defensively, I think he needs to step up a little bit. I don't really think his defense is that good. And I think some of the decision making. I know he averaged 5 assists a game almost. But, for a guy, I mean, I understand, like, that's not his main, I would say, his main forte. Like, he's not, like, a defensive unit. He's not an assist man. He's more of a scorer. And that'll only take you so far. We've seen it time and time before that, getting a guy that can score like that. I mean, we've seen Luka Doncic at this point get his team to the playoffs in the Western Conference. So, to me, I think it's about time that LaVine takes his team to the playoffs. I understand that's why they made the Vucevic trade. to see if Vucevic can help Levine make that little playoff push into that kind of play-in game. But we've kind of seen it now that, they need a lot more help. And I'm not sure if Lonzo will be the guy to kind of do it. As much as I think that Lonzo can, kind of be in there and, kind of do different things for the team, and be that defensive unit that Zach LaVine is not. I still feel like you need a lot more things, man. I think that there's more things that you could put in there. And to me, it's like, Zach LaVine, a great player, but if you look at the rest of the roster, and we can kind of look at it, now that they add Don Sumo, they have Patrick, to me, Justin, you probably have a better sense of Patrick Williams. Like, what do you make of him? Do you think that he's someone that could help out in the rotation with you guys? Or is he someone that you feel like is going to be a long-term project where maybe in about 5 years, you might get the best version of Patrick Williams? Because I feel like he's still a project in the works. And I feel like it's going to take a lot longer. And I don't think Zach LaVine has that much time to kind of wait for Patrick Williams to be that project to finally develop and get going. Kobe White, a young guard, I think he has also time. And then also Vucevic. I mean, another guy that you look at it and you're wondering what you could do with it. And to me, and that's kind of my biggest thing about this whole situation is, what are we getting from Zach LaVine? You also got, of course, Larry Marketing. I know that he's kind of a polarizing player for your organization in Chicago. Do you maybe use him in a side and trade? I think you have to do something to get another superstar there, because I feel like that's going to be a lot better to do it. We haven't really seen, Coach Billy Donovan. I'm not a huge fan of Billy Donovan there. I think he's still the coach, if I'm not mistaken, or he might not be. Let me check the head coach. I believe he's still the head coach. Let me make sure is he still the head coach for you guys? Let me see. I don't think Billy Donovan's the next coach. I don't think he's the coach for you guys. Okay, he's still that. I just feel like you have to get rid of a guy in Billy Donovan. I think, I understand he had that good season and other things like that, but I just don't see it with a guy like Billy Donovan. He's always kind of been sort of this mediocre coach besides having his 2015 season. I know he was a coach, I believe, of Florida at one point, and I just think that he hasn't really made the step to really get his team over the hump. I know he's had a winning record for the past years. I don't think he's had a losing record until this season with Chicago. But I just don't see Billy Donovan really working out for you guys as a head coach. I just don't think that his sort of play style and the way that he likes to run things, I don't think it bodes well for guys like Zach LaVine. Now you have to do it for Vucevic. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to kind of figure out. And that's kind of my spiel right now with Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls. Like I said, I know that this is probably talking from a Celtics stand and all that stuff, but I honestly would like Lonzo Ball with the Celtics. I think he fits so much better with them. You have so many scoring options, and then Lonzo Ball doesn't have to do a lot of the scoring for you. He can kind of be the guy that lays back a little bit and gets people going with assists and other things like that, instead of trying to get people going with actually having to score a lot of the points. I think Lonzo Ball has improved a lot. And when we look at Lonzo Ball stats from, kind of his rookie year to where he's at right now, I'll kind of do the same thing for you guys here. I'll make sure to flip it so the top season or the latest season's on top. Got his point averages up to 14.6. Again, I still think it's an inflated basketball point system where I feel like a lot of players' stats are a little bit inflated with the way the defenses are ran and called in the NBA. Hopefully that'll change a little bit more. Wasn't his best assist season this year, and rebounding definitely was not his best strong suit in a while. I see P-Dub developing at a similar clip as Brandon Ingram. Solid rookie year, then gets a little better, and then All-Star third or fourth year. He was a rock solid defense, and his mid-range game was on point. Okay, I mean, I know that he was kind of taken, I believe, last year as kind of like the guy to be the next Kawhi Leonard type of player. That's going to be interesting to see how his development goes. You see it more as Brandon Ingram. which obviously did take about 4 or 5 years to get himself going. My question is going to be for that team, like, do they have the patience and the wherewithal to wait for Patrick Williams to develop? Because like I said, you already have Zach LaVine, who's already 27 years, or going to be 27 this year. You know, you wait another 5 years, Zach LaVine's 32, and it's like you've already wasted the prime years of Zach LaVine with developing Patrick Williams, where instead of trying to get someone to help him out and make the playoffs right away. And like I said, you know, I think Lonzo Ball does do a great job. Obviously, his 3-point percentage has gone up since last year, you know, obviously going up to 38% almost compared to 37.5. And then, of course, the 2-point percentage for Lonzo has gone up each and every year. So you can see that there is development in the offensive game of Lonzo. And you can also see in the free throw as well, you know, from someone that was a 45% shooter to now being at least a 78 to almost 80% free throw shooter. That means you can rely on Lonzo Ball to get to the line and actually knock down some free throws and not be a liability in that sense. And I think that's the reason why he didn't really play so much. Or, you know, he kind of got shafted, I feel like, a little bit in Los Angeles. I think there was also the pressure of being the number 2 guy. Magic Johnson drafted you. And, of course, you know, when Magic Johnson drafts you, this is kind of one of those things you look at it and you see that, you know, he's going to want some excellence out of you. And that's kind of my thing for it. Where it's like, I'm not sure what's going to be going on in that scenario. Let's just make sure that Tyrese didn't text me back. All right, cool. Yeah, so that's kind of my spiel with the Chicago Bulls. That's why they got Vooch. 2 All-Stars are better than 1. We could definitely use Lonzo's perimeter defense as well. But my thing, Justin, is like, do you think that Vucevic is the answer? You know, I've talked about wanting Vucevic in Boston for a long time, but like, I just don't feel like he is that good of an all-star type of player that you'd want. I feel like you'd want someone, honestly, you would hope that that Lowry Markkanen would be that answer, but obviously Lowry is not the answer. I'm curious what you think about Lowry. Do you guys think that you might trade him, or what is your plan with Lowry Markkanen? Because then we look at Vucevic, right? We go look at Nikola Vucevic from 2012 to 2021, obviously played for a couple of teams here. And we can kind of flip the seasons really quick. And, you know, was an all-star this year, averaged 23 points per game, 3.8 assists, you know, blocks not too high at this point, you know, free throw percentage good. And maybe it's because Vucevic needs another year to kind of help out, or to kind of get acquainted with the system. But again, you know, you look at a guy like Vucevic, to me, it's like, does this guy take you over the hump? You know, does this guy help you get to the championship or even get to the playoffs? That's my biggest concern with the Bulls right now. Lowry has to go. Buddy stays injured. Best ability is availability. You know, the classic line, right? You know, just not being there when it matters most. I kind of want to see where Lowry's going to go. You know, he's a guy that I think, you know, just didn't perform very well. This past season just was not available, like you said. Only played in 51 games, but only started 26. So that tells me that he is definitely not fully healthy for a guy that's supposed to be your number 1. It seems like he's never played a full season or close to it at all throughout his whole career, from the 17-18 season all the way till this year, where it's just like you never got anything from the guy. And I guess, and it probably would be frustrating that you never get to see him play. You never get to see him kind of do his thing. It's like you always are wondering what if with Lowry Markkanen. And, you know, maybe, hopefully you guys will do a sign and trade with him, because I feel like that might be your best bet to get that guy to get some value out of him. I feel like that's kind of the biggest issue right now, is that you just don't get value out of him at this point. You know, you're looking at a guy that's just kind of, you know, you just look at a guy that hasn't really done it yet. In there, and like I said, I hope that you kind of get something from him, man, because like I would be frustrated if like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown was like that, where like you only got to play like 68 games and never really got to see him play. Lowry had he said, yeah, the Bulls literally had one practice at the Vucevic trade, could never gel. They had actual games. I mean, I guess, Justin, what do you think of Billy Donovan? Are you a big fan of Billy Donovan as a head coach? to me, I feel like he was always the biggest issue as to why the Thunder could never win. I know that they've always had a winning season, so it's not like, he's totally the fault at hand. But, when I look at a guy like Billy Donovan, I still feel like he's a very overrated coach, and I don't think that he gets the best out of his players. I mean, do you feel like he can do that for you guys this year with Billy Donovan? Like we said, Lonzo's kind of interested in there. I think there's other teams as well. Lakers and Knicks, and Chicago Bulls. Honestly, they could be a pretty good Knickerbocker if he was able to join the Knicks as a guy there, because I just feel like he does a good job of he can get those guys involved for the Knicks. Where I feel like he's a little bit like a Tom Thibodeau guy. But again, maybe I'm wrong in that sense. The Raptors have also shown interest in Lonzo Ball. I mean, to me, it's like the Raptors kind of blew their chance because they should have gotten what's his name. The Lonzo wire? Are you freaking kidding me? The Lonzo wire. Come on, man. I like Billy. The team played hard for him. Bought in. Miles ahead of Jim Balin. Yeah. Jim Balin I feel like Jim Balin was a very old school coach. Like a coach that you could never see. He's a very old school coach. You definitely could see it in the 80s and 90s, but you can't see it in today's game. Like the players are too... they have too much power now in terms of like, the old school way was to always run the kids and to always like, get in their grill and tough love. But now it's like you have to have a different coaching style. Now you have to kind of be, accommodate to all type of coaching because all, the same coaching doesn't work for every kid. So I think that's why Jim Balin just absolutely failed there. And rightfully so, because I don't think he adapted as well to the game, even though I believe he is a Popovich, from the Popovich tree. Thoughts on landing spot for Kyle Lowry? Well, from the news I read, they just accepted the team option for Goran Dragic, which makes me think that maybe Kyle Lowry, I think Kyle Lowry could end up being a Miami Heat by the end of it, because when I look at the way that things are going, the reason why they kind of accepted the team option for Goran Dragic is because I feel like they're going to do a sign and trade to get Kyle Lowry. I feel like it's either going to be there or it's going to be in Dallas, where if Kyle Lowry is going to fit and kind of be the point guard for that team. Excuse me. I can kind of see Miami being number one, and then having Dallas be number two. A lot of people are talking about the Lakers, but to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a tough sell to get all these guys on veteran minimums. Meanwhile, you got your top three guys in Westbrook, AD, and LeBron making so much more of the money. I just feel like it's going to be a tough bargain to say, you can be the vet min guy. I just feel like that's not going to happen. Players are too soft. Yeah, they can be. I feel like there needs to be a balance between, coach being a hard ass and also a coach being, kind of even with his players, where I feel like also the players have to do the same thing. I just feel like right now it's a player-driven league, which is great for the players. They obviously get to make their money and all this stuff like that. But I just think that, I think the criticizing part of it, where, it's actual criticism and not hating, just doesn't get to take place because of the way that the league is ran right now. I also feel like there's too many people in these players' ears as well when you think about it. In Europe, they're through a club system where it's like you're one coach and that coach coaches you, or like it's the same coach with the same message, or it's the coaches with the same ideas. Whereas I feel like here in America, when, Jason Tatum goes and trains with Kobe, he's telling him something. When Jason Tatum goes to another trainer, that trainer's telling him something else. And I feel like it's contradictory information, and it's really who the player trusts, that he's going to kind of play hard for. So, like, for example, like I said, if Jason Tatum obviously idolized Kobe Bryant, he will play hard for Kobe Bryant. Whereas like the Brad Stevens, I feel like he's not going to listen to Brad Stevens as much. And that's kind of I feel like that's kind of the way the league is at this point. It's just, I feel like just basketball in general in America, which is kind of why I like the European system, in my opinion. And I hope there's some way to bring it over here to the States. Because I feel like that's a much better I feel like that's much better for the kids too. I mean, not even just talking like the elite athletes and Jason Tatum and all these NBA players. I feel like it'd be a great thing for the guys that don't even make it, that maybe make college or maybe make a different team. I feel like that'd be so much better for their system and kind of what they do, rather than go to anybody that you want and kind of just listen to whoever and don't really get that opportunity. Like I said, I'm hoping by the looks of it that Lonzo Ball could end up going with Jason Tatum. I know that I think he was in this draft, if I'm not mistaken, with him. And I would love to see these two guys kind of team up, being the number 2 and the number 3 guy, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of ball out in that perspective. Let's see here. Don't think there's really that much. I think we talked about Kyle Lowry already. I see him, kind of fitting more into the role of the Miami Heat, just because I feel like he just fits the Miami culture so well, and I just don't really see him kind of fitting any other culture, in my opinion. Like I said, they exercised the team option for Goran Dragic for that reason. The reason why they also declined the Andre Iguodala team option. Another player that we can talk about as well is the fact that Nicholas Batoon is also receiving interest, not only from the Clippers again, but also the Heat, the Warriors, and the Pacers. I feel like he's going to be a guy that ends up on the Miami Heat. Like, I just feel like you're going to get Kyle Lowry and Nicholas Batoon go to the Miami Heat and kind of be these guys that, like, a lot of people kind of look at and are just kind of like, you know what? Let's see if we can make something happen here. And I just feel like that's going to be what's going to be the case with a guy like Nicholas Batoon. He's playing very well for Spain, or for France right now in the Olympics, and you can see that him and guys like Evan Fournier are balling out right now, and you kind of hope that he can kind of receive a big offer due to this Olympics. I think that it kind of goes to show you like what type of style you play in the Olympics versus what you play in the NBA, and I think that you can definitely get that. Oh, Tyrese, you're good to go? All right, let me send that invite. Give me 1 second, Tyrese. Let's see here. Just wait for him to join. I think we're good now.
Yeah, what's going on, Bernie?
Not much. Not much.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Oh, wait, hang on.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I thought I was still on mute
awesome.
from the last time we did it, but no, we're good now.
Yeah, because I didn't bring my headphones.
Okay, I got you.
I'm in Vegas right now.
Oh, nice. You gonna stay for Summer League or?
Oh, there's Summer League down here?
I believe so. I think it's not tomorrow. I think it's sometime this week.
Oh yeah, well I'm leaving Saturday. If there's a game maybe Friday, I might have to slide through.
Let me see here.
Yeah, I'm down here for Black Hat for cybersecurity convention.
Oh, okay, got you. Oh shoot, no, it takes place the 8th.
Oh man, damn it.
No.
Next time.
So Tyrese, we kind of talked a little bit here. I talked about Kawhi Leonard. I've talked about Goran Dragic. I talked about Chris Paul. Let's talk Celtics now that you're here, man.
Let's go.
We talked about the big trade for us was obviously getting Josh Richardson, and we had to give away Moses Brown. What did you think? Do you think that was a good trade for us, or do you think that was a bad move on our end?
I don't think it was a bad move. I just think well, I just don't like Josh Richardson, man. Like, I don't see what Brad, or I don't know who made the move, but
it's a Brad move. It's a Brad move.
For sure. For sure it was. Like, you're better off keeping Moses Brown with way more upside. He's younger. You know what I'm saying? Josh Richardson to me seems like a Marcus Smart replacement or something. Like, I don't understand why he's even on the team right now. Do you?
No, and that's my frustration with the Celtics. That's kind of why I made that YouTube short and you commented in it.
Yeah.
I the reason why I'm frustrated is because I feel like Josh Richardson, I think he's a good player, but I just feel like he's just been too inconsistent in his stints everywhere that he's gone, whether it's in Miami, whether it's in Philly. And now here with us in Boston, making I think 11 mil on his deal. It's like I don't see the upside of bringing him in unless like a guy like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum wanted him to come to the team. Like,
Yeah, and I highly doubt that.
Yeah, to me, it's frustrating because I know we're a lot better and we're a lot more capable of different things, but right now it just seems to me that we're just sidestepping. We're not moving up in the right direction to try and at least contend for the 4th or 5th seed, which I think is realistically where we should be aiming for at this point with the roster that we have. But maybe it might be less now.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I didn't understand that, dude. Like Josh Richardson, like they have Al Horford now. They almost have what Philly had in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, I'm scared. I'm getting nervous, Bernie.
I mean, I would get nervous too, man. It's just not. There's just no options right now. We don't have anything to really kind of go off of. We got Chris Dunn, who is a solid defensive point guard, but again, not a flashy or exciting move that's gonna really move the needle.
And there's rumors he could even be on the move.
I'm hoping Al Horford's on the move. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, hey, listen, I wouldn't mind it either. But Al Horford, I mean, he's a good veteran who can, rally Jason and JB if they get too big-headed and want the ball all the time and shooting bricks. But I think Al would be good for at least one more year. But we need a good center, man. Like, we're really thin. Who's our center right now? Fernando?
No, it's probably going to be Robert Williams. I think he's going to be the number one guy. This year I think is going to be a prove it year for him in terms of can he stay healthy the whole season. Injury history has kind of been his forte at this point. Do you guys see Jason Tatum and Brown as a legit 1 and 2? I do see them as a legit 1 and 2, Justin. When I really look at those two guys, I think they are able to get the job done. The question is, can we give them a supporting cast around them to kind of get to that championship aspirations that we're looking for? So far, it doesn't look like it, whether it's Brad Stevens so far or whether it's Danny Ainge. I just don't feel like we've done the due diligence or the right of those two players with the bench or the role players that we gave them.
Yeah, I feel like Brad's not really doing a lot of DD on these players. Like Josh Richardson, what needle is he moving for us? Like, I just don't understand, bro. Like, I don't know. Then we have Bruno Fernando, who's like really undersized. He has good strength, good weight, but it's like, we need an Embiid stopper, man. Like, he doesn't have to be fully Embiid stopper, but just a body who can make things a little difficult. I mean, Al Horford might be that dude, but who knows, man? That guy's always in concussion protocol or something,
I mean, he definitely did a really good job in our, kind of our little run or our stint that we had a couple years back. And I do appreciate that for him. But at the same time, a year older, doesn't move the same way. That's going to be the biggest concern for me because I don't feel like we're not really getting guys that could help us, do something when Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown are off. I'm not saying that I need not saying I need another like shot creating type of center or anything like that. But we also need a point guard that can get those guys the ball and not be a defensive liability, which is why I like Lonzo Ball coming to us as a Celtic. The question now is, can we even afford Lonzo Ball at this point? Looks like it's going to be a no. I think that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, is that like right now we're not going to be able to afford Lonzo Ball. We're going to just be kind of stuck again. Stuck making bad moves, and then eventually, like you said, maybe they might leave.
Yeah, man, we're gonna be stuck like Chuck, man. We're I don't know how we're gonna be looking, man. Like, I don't know what free agents even want to come to Boston. Like, are we even a destination right now? Like, there's Chris Paul. Like, I've seen some rumors that Kyle Lowry wants to go to Dallas. Like, I don't know, man. But I can almost guarantee we're probably just gonna wind up getting Patty Mills as a point guard, and maybe like maybe somebody like Nerlens Noel. I can just see something like that happening. Like, it's not gonna be a Chris Paul or a Kyle Lowry or it's going to be guys who been around, have a little name to them, but it doesn't really move the needle for us.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it right now. The kind of the rumors that even just bringing up the Bleacher Report article. It's Lonzo Ball, Evan Fournier, and Tristan Thompson trade. Like, there's no real excitement coming from anybody in the Boston area at this point. There's no like maybe Kawhi Leonard changes mind and maybe signs there. Like, there's nothing like that right now. Mostly, it's just a lot of our role playing players and Lonzo Ball, who I really like, that are getting kind of the spotlight at this point. And to me, it's frustrating as someone who is a supporter of the Celtics to not really be linked with anybody. Nothing really going on. I mean, unless, like I said, unless Brad Stevens is making some master trade, I'm not really too hopeful for the future of the Boston Celtics at this point. And I feel like Brad Stevens might leave next year and just become the head coach of Indiana. That's what it's feeling like.
You think so?
Because I feel like if he doesn't do anything this year with his GM role, to me it feels like they just kind of, like you said, they kind of signed him on a pity deal, and they don't really want to waste away that money that they're going to owe him, and they'd rather him have work than just kind of sit on unemployment collecting checks, and that's kind of what the vibe I'm getting from this.
Yeah, man, like sorry about that. I was reading a text message. Yeah, man, I just don't understand. I don't know, man, like I'm speechless. Like, free agency's tomorrow, correct?
Yeah. Or like the official opening of it.
Ooh, it's tonight. Wow, I'm in Vegas. I'm really not gonna sleep. It's at 12:01, correct?
Yep. So you're gonna be on the strip, and you're just gonna be wheeling and dealing, and then you're gonna see some deals go down.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to sleep. I want to see some fireworks, man. We better get Chris Paul or somebody. What's it looking like? Let me check it out.
It's not looking hot. Like I said, I already have it pulled up. Like our linked rumors right now are Evan Fournier, can we re-sign him? Jeff Green, Rudy Gay, Kelly Olynyk, Patty Mills, and Avery Bradley. That's kind of the rumors for the Celtics.
Avery Bradley?
It's looking dry and dusty right now.
Wait, I see something from Jake Fletcher that the Celtics are trying to land Lonzo Ball in a sign and trade that would send Marcus Smart to New Orleans and could be the framework of deal. I also see something. Jeff Green is reportedly a primary target for the Celtics by Adam Helmabach, whatever his name is. Boston could also show interest in Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley. So it looks like we're trying to get the band back together.
Yeah, we're trying to get like the OG Brad Stevens band together, it did get us to the playoffs. It got us far. I'm not gonna discredit them, but at the same time, these guys are a year older, and they've already kind of scouted us. Plus Udoka might be a different type of coach. He might not like some of the same sets that Brad Stevens runs, and we might have to kind of do a different type of thing. But to me, it's like I don't really like the way that the Celtics have kind of handled free agency at this point, in terms of they didn't set themselves up right to get somebody in the future.
Yeah,
because right now, if we look at our salary cap, I'm looking at it now. Brutal.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. If we could get Lonzo, that would be really good.
Sad. Let's see here. Do you guys see? Okay, no, I do, but you need a big three to win this league. Sure. Do you think DeMar DeRozan can be a number 3 on a championship-winning team?
What was that?
Justin asked if DeMar DeRozan can be a number 3 on a championship team.
DeMar DeRozan? I don't know. That's tough. What do you think?
Like, I think DeMar DeRozan's a great player. I think he got shafted a little bit going to San Antonio, where I feel like he just kind of went to die because, San Antonio just isn't the same team that it once was a couple years back, when they were making playoffs and making those final contentions. You got a situation where now you have DeMar DeRozan kind of being the number 1 guy. And I just don't think I don't think he's that guy to be number one. I think he can be a number three on a championship winning team. The question is, where is he going to go? Is he going to go to LA and take a vet min, or is he going to go to a team where he actually can make some money?
Yeah, I think he's going to the Lakers.
You think so?
Yeah, I just think they're going to make some space for him, and the cap space is looking really good. Well, not really good, but they can make it work. They wouldn't even probably mind going over the luxury tax in whole if they got DeMar along with Russell Westbrook. That would like solidify at least a finals. He's a good player, man. He can draw fouls, but as far as what that comment was, I don't know about that one.
If the Bucks can win with Jrue Holiday as a 3, a team can win with DeMar as a 3. Yeah, but the thing with Jrue is that he's a defensive unit, man. Like he's a really good defensive player. Like he's not one of these guys, because in the NBA they do a lot of switching on their ball screens, because ball screens just reign supreme as kind of as the primary offense for anybody. And Jrue Holiday is a guy that he's a guy that can get over the screen so quick that he doesn't get screened and there's no need to switch. So, and DeMar isn't that guy to do that on defense. I don't think he primarily focuses on that. So I don't know. To me, they're two different players, but I think DeMar DeRozan can be. As someone that is a shot creator, I think that's what the Lakers need at this point. I know that 3-point shot is kind of the biggest issue right now with the Lakers, but like I said, the Bucks and the Lakers showed you last year that if you can control the offensive glass, you have a chance to win the championship with the way that things are going.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And just kind of looking at our roster right now, it is looking absolutely brutal. Just brutal.
Yeah, it's not looking good, man. What is some of your predictions for tonight? Let's go to that. Let's do that. Where do you think people are going to end up tonight?
Let's see here. So I think realistically, Kawhi Leonard ends up back in Clipperland. Wojnarowski kind of reported that earlier. I think that's kind of the biggest one.
The $36 million player option for next season.
I think he's gonna work on a move that makes him have more security than try and win championships. So I think he's gonna sign like a 4 or 5 year deal that gets him there, that keeps him there.
I think Kawhi counts.
No, because I feel like he's a guy that sees, he's gotten injured, kind of some bad injuries the last couple of years, and kind of realizes
ACL?
that he's trying to secure the bag at this point. He's not trying to kind of risk it.
But I don't know if what do the Clippers owe him though? Like he hasn't won anything. Like he can get that. To be honest, Kawhi Leonard was better off staying in Toronto. The fans were loyal there. Even with his injury now, they would have gave him all the money he asked for. They were going to give him $245 million.
Yeah.
Steve Ballmer is very impatient. He's a business guy. He's very impatient. And with that ACL, I don't know if Steve is willing to give him $43 to $44 to $45 million a year. Yeah. And it's a question mark on his health.
I think they will.
Took him to the Western. When Paul George damn near took him so far without him, and Reggie Jackson.
I'd be curious to see what happens with Reggie Jackson. I think he earned himself a big contract this coming season, so we'll see where he decides to end up getting signed. I think the biggest move for me is going to be Kyle Lowry. I think he's going to go to the Miami Heat. I feel like the Heat and the Raptors are going to do a sign and trade where Goran Dragic goes to the Raptors, and then you have Kyle Lowry end up on the Miami Heat. Like that to me is like the biggest move so far. But other than that, like to me, we're also seeing that Spencer Dinwiddie to the Wizards gains momentum with Kuzma or Harrell going to the Nets. If Kuzma or Harrell goes to the Nets, you might see some bitter exes try and go at LeBron. I mean, we saw, Montrez.
I would love Montrez in Boston. I totally agree with Pete when he said that, man. That's been bringing in my mind, like thinking about guys we can get and like trade for, or like. I would love Montrez with us for some reason. I think he would bring that dog back. And like, man, if we get him, Avery Bradley, and Kelly like on not expensive deals, we can be a force to be reckoned with, man. And we could pick up Patty.
Mm-hmm.
We could be really, really good. Really good. But is Brad going to do something outrageous? Not, is he going to do something like that? Because he's barely getting his feet wet. I mean, he has guys and, around him who can help him, but when it comes down to that executive, button, he's going to have to push it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
we'll see what happens. Like I said, for me, I think it's going to be a lot of like hoping and praying that we can get some of these guys. But in terms of kind of that trade, we saw that Kuzma took a might have been a shot or more so like a subtle sly to LeBron James by saying that Kobe Bryant is now his GOAT after he was claiming that LeBron James has been his GOAT for years on years on years. So we're seeing that Kyle Kuzma is a salty X. We had we had some stuff about Montrez, with him, with kind of like what was going on with the Lakers. They got Gasol and these other guys, and it seems like he was pouting and just not interested in playing. And I feel like, if they end up going to the Nets, you could definitely see a revenge game kind of going on with those two. To the Nets.
To the Nets. What do you think about Jeff Green?
I like Jeff Green. I think he's a great player. I just don't know if he can still do it anymore at this point. He's an older player, and I just think that at this point in his career, I just think that you're not going to get the Jeff Green that you got in the Nets anymore. I think you're going to get a little bit, a little less production than I think you normally would get.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. He was pretty good for the Nets this year. He was putting up 12 points a game off the bench, shooting threes, can dunk. Like he's a veteran who I think would be great for us. He can be really cheap too, maybe $4 to $5 million, $6 million max for 1 year, just to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean
I would like Kelly Olynyk. I would love Avery Bradley. If he's coming off the bench, he would be great.
I mean, the thing is, we've already had Jeff Green on the team before, all the way back in our, 14, 15, or actually 13, 4, more like the 12-11 season, or sorry, 12-13 season.
Yeah, we had him back then. I just feel like he's a little bit more seasoned now. He's went to a finals with LeBron. He's played with KD. He's been around. I think this would be a guy good for locker room,
Mm-hmm.
especially for JT and JB. He doesn't have to do everything for us, but being a good locker room presence, telling JB if he's shooting too much and missing, everything's gonna be okay. Like I felt like we were missing that, from a veteran, and that's why I think a lot of these guys were, especially JB, I feel like he was getting overwhelmed sometimes and feeling like he had to try to put up 30 every night. If he didn't put up 30 every night, then they're gonna forget about him, And I don't know, man. JT's starting to look like he's thinking it's his team,
Mm-hmm.
And we might have to move JB sooner or later.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with those two guys. I'm curious to kind of see and realize like what players we're gonna acquire, and also what we're gonna see from kind of the free agents that we're interested in. Jeff Green, like you talked about, or we're talking about right now. Are we gonna get a guy that's gonna be the 16.5 that he did for us? Or sorry, 16.9, almost 17 a game. The way he was a couple years back, or are we gonna get the guy that averages like 9 points a game? If he does come to Boston, I feel like he's gonna end up on a different team. I could see him also. I could honestly see him going to the Lakers on a vet minimum, and going playing with LeBron. Jeff Green. Yeah, Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff. Well, we seen it with Cleveland, but I mean, it could happen, but I don't know, man. A reunion of Boston, I think he would love it.
I mean, I'm sure he would too, because I think we would offer him a little bit more than the vet minimum, but it's not going to be by much.
But too, he can be a real vocal point. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're, I don't know. I've never been in the league, but maybe if you're around like too many veteran guys, it gets kind of like, not boring necessarily, but it's like everybody knows what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not really any challenge. Like you're not going to be playing a lot of minutes. So it's like, why not mentor some of these young guys that are coming up that are great players. I think he would love that role. I could be wrong, but he could really help us.
I think he could too, but I still think that he's going to be a guy that wants to chase a championship. For being in the league all the way back in '08, I think he's a guy that wants that ring, man. I just feel like at this point of his career, he wants to get that final championship so he can just kind of put everything to rest and to maybe retire as a champion at some point. And I think his best bet is either staying in Brooklyn or going to Boston. Or sorry, not Boston.
I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to go to Milwaukee and try to replace Bobby Portis if Bobby leaves.
Yeah, Bobby declined his option, man. We'll see where he goes. I think he's a guy that, honestly, if I'm the Lakers, I'm looking at him. Honestly, I think he's honestly, like, to me, I think Bobby Portis is what I think the Lakers were expecting from Montrez. In terms of a guy that can, kind of be the hustle guy, get the rebounds, get you second chance points, but can shoot the three. Where I feel like Montrez is very, very shaky with his jumper.
Yeah. That's very true, Bernie. Yeah, I agree. The only thing with Montrez I like a lot about him is he is very energetic. I feel like we're lacking energy. Like Marcus Smart was like that a few years back, but he's just not that anymore, man. Like ever since they took out the weight clause, like, when he first signed his deal when he was slimmer, it's like he's not really like that anymore. Yeah, he shows a little bit of emotion, but you remember, man, in 2016, that guy was fiery. Fiery. He's not like that anymore. He's just trying to shoot and get his points. I honestly feel like he wants his own team.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna be on I think we're trading him tonight, man. I think we're getting Lonzo. I just have this feeling.
You feel like it's gonna be Lonzo? I want to say, like, I wish I had that same feeling of, like, yes, Lonzo's coming to Boston. But to me, I feel like it's going to be the Bulls, man. I feel like the Bulls, they have the salary cap. They have all the stuff working for them.
I just think Lonzo knows with this talent, like, in coaching and just organizational-wise, Brad's coached these guys, and it's the Boston Celtics. You can lead. Chicago's just, I don't know, man. He's at least won a championship. He's been the lead assistant for Pop. You know what I'm saying? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, he can be right there. You know what I'm saying? This will be the best talent he's played with since when he got drafted with LeBron, other than probably high school with his brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think he would really flourish here.
I think he would too.
Yeah.
I think he would too, and I think it would be a much better... I would say he'd be a much better player for us, like I talked about earlier in the stream. Like, I just think his ability to get guys open, especially Brown and Tatum, it doesn't necessarily need to be the primary scorer. He can be the off-ball guy, let those guys do their things, and then when they forget about him and he's in the corner shooting those threes after doing his passing, he's going to be open, he's going to do the extra things, and that's the reason why I want Lonzo on the team, man. Like, I really want him to be their point guard, especially, at 6'7", 6'8". I just feel like he's gonna do a great job for us if he does go to Boston. But you'll never know. Sometimes you get a guy that all signs point that he's going here to Boston or to go to Chicago, and he ends up going to like some random obscure team that we just did not see coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Justin, you said yes, sir. Best free agent since Carlos Boozer. Yeah, you guys got the bad version of Carlos Boozer, which kind of sucked for your team because I felt like if you had prime Carlos Boozer like he was in Utah, you guys would have been a really good team with that D Rose team. But other than that, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about, Tyrese?
Let me see here. What do you think Chris Paul's ending up tonight?
He's staying in Suns. Like if he's a guy that wants his money and kind of wants to keep his would not take the bet.
He declined his player option.
He declined it, but I feel like the Suns have first dibs on him. He's gonna sign there unless he can sign somewhere else for their championship contending team. Maybe he goes back to Clipperland.
So do you think Cameron Payne's pretty much gone then? Because they can't give Chris Paul probably $50 million.
Yeah, Cameron Payne is gone. He was a disappointment in the finals. didn't really show up in the finals, and that's kind of the biggest game that you needed him in, and he just didn't do anything for you. As kind of like the backup role, where I felt like he did something for you in that Nuggets series, whether it was taking that fall of the foul, of the quote unquote technical flagrant 2 foul from Jokic, and kind of giving you scoring options. I just feel like that's something that we're going to see. I think he's just going to be gone from there.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think Kawhi Leonard and Chris Paul might link up?
That's what I was thinking. Like that would be my only like wild card as to where Chris Paul goes. I mean, maybe he goes back to Clipperland and tries to win them a championship. But I think at the end of the day, he'll go to Phoenix. I think that team they just gel well together with the pieces that they have, and I think you're gonna see them not end up together. That being Chris Paul and Kawhi. Excuse me. And then you're gonna see Kawhi go back to Clippers and Chris Paul go back to the Suns. As much as I think it would be a very interesting team if that were to happen, I still feel like it's just not going to be. I just feel like Chris Paul. There's too much bad blood with the Clippers organization. I don't
know, man. Like, it's pretty. It's usually they would be rumors like, okay, he's gonna resign, but it's taken a while. It's only 4.5 hours left.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they just do it at the last minute, but that's kind of weird. Like, reports would come out. His intention is to resign. They're working on a deal. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just whistles right now. So that's the only thing I'm saying. Like, it's just, I wouldn't make it 100% guaranteed. To me, it's a 50-50 right now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out. Like I said, I think that, right now we're kind of at the eve of everything. And so it's kind of, everything is it's the quiet before the storm. And I feel like there's going to be
I will say, though, I see a picture of Chris Paul in LA, so he could be joining the Clippers.
Maybe, but I feel like he's just, his family lives there, so I don't think it's necessarily too scandalous.
But he's hanging out with Westbrook, though. Like, why would you hang out with Westbrook? Like, unless you're talking about
going to the Lakers. Does he go there on a vet minimum?
I don't think they afford him. They can't afford him, right?
Even on a vet min? Just offering.
Oh no! Hell.
I mean, sure, LeBron. I'm sure LeBron could somehow find a way to get him on a vet min, but really have like a big contract.
That would be OP. That would be literally OP.
I mean, that's the Lakers' strategy right now. Their strategy is to sign guys on vet minimums at this point. They got Westbrook, they got AD. They got LeBron, obviously, and a bunch of guys that are on vet minimum.
They have Drummond on vet minimum. He's gonna want his money unless Drummond I think Drummond walks. I think he goes to Brooklyn.
You think so? And just kind of becomes, getting revenge.
Yeah. They need a rim protector and a rebounder. That kid with the dreads, he's not really a good rebounder and a good score inside the paint like that. I think Drummond's gonna go to the Nets. I could be wrong though, but I think Drummond wants to win. That's the reason why he wanted to go to the Lakers, but I don't think they can afford him now.
Yeah.
Of what he's asking, probably $80 million plus.
Mm-hmm. Justin, you said, do you guys remember when DeAndre Jordan was held hostage in his house by Blake Griffin and Chris Paul so he wouldn't sign with Dallas? I remember that. That was so ridiculous. I remember when that happened. I was like, dude, what is going on? Literally, I think it was Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I think Doc Rivers also was in the house. And I think Mark Cuban came to talk to DeAndre Jordan. And they just would not let him talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I need like a 30 for 30 on that story. Just to see what the hell happened there.
Yeah. What else do you think? Man, I'm surprised. I didn't see none of this because obviously I was on the plane and getting everything ready.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeff Green, Kelly Olynyk, and Avery Bradley.
All trash. No one on there I like. No, I mean, Avery Bradley I like. That's the only guy that I would sign from that group. Kelly,
Avery Bradley. Kelly too, though. I like Kelly. I think
Kelly's trash, man. He's been bad. Nah, man. He did his thing for us a couple years back, but he just is not the same player that he once was, and now it just seems like he's a shell of his former self. And I don't really see him really helping us win anything besides, maybe a hippie concert or Lollapalooza or whatever, man. Like that's the only thing I see him doing. Like to me, I'm hoping that we can kind of get some exciting kind of rumors or even just something interesting coming to the Boston Celtics. But at this point, I'm just not buying anything from what Brad Stevens is selling.
Yeah, I feel like Brad Stevens might be a little overwhelmed, so he's just getting the guys he knows best from the system he was running. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he's not trying to make a big splash at guys that are unproven. You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to go with what's like he coached and maybe like Patty Mills because it seems like they're just trying to go with familiar faces right now.
Right.
I was surprised they even went after Josh Richardson. But too, I think MA was with Philly, wasn't he? Or what? Yeah, I think he was with Philly for a year. With Josh Richardson. Was he?
I don't think so. Maybe.
No. So maybe just he liked it, Josh Richardson, but it seems like they're just trying to get familiar faces right now. Like Brad's not really trying to do nothing like big, like go for Chris Paul or get Kyle Lowry. I'm pretty sure their team's talking, but you know, unless you got Jason Tatum on the line saying like, come here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those guys aren't going to sign here for a max deal or maybe even 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, man. Like, I'm just kind of disappointed right now in the Celtics in terms of the fact that we just don't have anybody that we're linked to at this point that's worth even honestly talking about. You know, like other than Avery Bradley, just because I think he would be a great player for us. We've had him before. My only issue with Avery Bradley is I feel like he's gonna want to re-sign with like the Lakers or the Nets and try and win a championship. That's kind of where I'm leaning towards with him going somewhere. And the other guys, it's just like that kind of goes to show you the sort of excitement around Boston at this point, which is none.
Yeah,
you know, and we'll see what happens, man. But I think I'm gonna have to head out of here unless Tyrese, you got one more story, anything to talk about before we sign out of here?
No, I think that would be it.
Alrighty. I want to thank each and every one of you. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Tyrese for coming on here to talk a little bit before he hits the strip and have some fun in Vegas. You know, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Like we talked about before in our 7-hour stream and just our streams in general, the more likes, the more subscribes, the more that this channel will grow. Like I said, we have a goal. As you can see down below me, 762 is what we're at right now. We're trying to get to 1,000 by Christmas. So if you guys are interested,
let's get that YouTube algorithm going.
I know. So if you guys are interested in the channel, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And also, if you mess with the channel in any way, please remember to get a shirt, a mug, a hat, or a sweatshirt. My boy Tyrese got himself a mug, so he'll be showing that off later in the streams whenever he gets it. And of course, we also have a donation link as well if you are interested in donating to the channel. But anyway, Tyrese, do you have anything to say before we sign out?
Let me just check if there is any breaking news before we go. Because sometimes there is. No, I don't see any. So yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Like I said, thank you, Tyrese, for coming on to the show again. Really appreciate you and your hoop intellect. And of course, my boy Pete as well, who also comes on the show for his hoop intellect as well. But anyway, guys, like I said, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video, and we'll see what happens in free agency.